Oftentimes, when you go to the car mechanic, the auto mechanic, and you leave your car, they tell you that they need to do this and that, and you go pick up the car, and they give you the bill, and say the bill is $1,500. And as you pay that, you think to yourself, like, how do I know they actually did all the job they said they did? How do I know they did it well? Most times we have no way of verifying it unless you rig your car with secret hidden cameras, and so we just have to take their word. But from time to time, when you send something to the technician, or technician does something for you, you have an ability to verify what has been done. And that is the case with mobile devices. They actually keep the track of all the apps being opened, closed, and there's an entire history of what was done to the device. That is awesome. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the bench. We have no patient today. What we do have is a review. This is a Yelp review for one of the repair shops, very much like mine, only much bigger, making a lot more money. A couple of weeks ago, one of our friends in the business has closed down his shop, and he cited a lot of reasons how difficult this business is, and basically he decided to close the shop. He no longer had he no longer wanted to do it. It just wasn't rewarding enough anymore. Right? It's completely understandable. It's a very difficult business. You have to keep learning every day, pretty much. And the companies that manufacture goods that you service, that you repair, constantly create, anti-repair measures, preventing you from even doing something as simple as replacing the battery on the phone, or replacing a single chip on the MacBook. And most of these devices were already sent to another repair shop that may have make it even more difficult to repair. In response to this, Alex from Northridge Fix decided to graciously share his opinion, get on his very high horse, and give us, the normal folk, us failures, a little advice. Which we always appreciate, right? And he met few responses, to which he made even another response where he basically doubled down. So fine. But Lewis's response especially drew my attention because he mentioned about the reviews. The shop that has closed down, they finished at 5.0 reviews. Right? This is very high. This is a great achievement in my book. If you have a solid 5.0 rating, because that means every single one of your customers was fully satisfied, right? But Lewis also mentioned that that's not necessarily the case for Northridge Fix. So I decided to go on a little hunt for the reviews, see what the customers had to say about Alex. And there's a staggering number of one-star reviews. And one thing that pretty much all of them have in common is the communication, that the communication with the shop is not what the customer would expect, sending, say, $1,500 device. They would like to have an open line of communication. Other reasons were either hidden charges, the bait and switch, basically saying that it's going to be $150 and then you get the bill for $300. Those kind of things. What I noticed is that in 2017, he was keeping like 5-star reviews all across the board. And in 2021, the majority of the reviews are single-star reviews. Now, one thing that we need to understand is that oftentimes people that do have a good experience, they're not going to write the review. but if they had a bad experience, they're more likely to write a review. So typically, if there's only few 5-star reviews and whole bunch of 1-star reviews, that doesn't mean that the majority of the repairs were faulty. Doesn't mean that the majority of the customers were unsatisfied. It's just there were a lot of, or many customers that were not satisfied. So I picked one over here because this is very interesting to me, because in this business, you're gonna meet or you're gonna encounter the situations where the technician indeed did not do something, and they're kind of taking you for a ride. So either they demand a bench fee and they didn't provide anything, or they said they spent 5 hours on the device and you have a proof that they spent 5 minutes on the device and they want a bench fee for that. Typically, you can't really prove that, but in some cases you can. And if you confront such a technician, one of three things is going to happen. Just like animals that are cornered react differently. Some of them will faint and just drop to the ground. Some of them will just freeze. Some of them will fight to the last drop of blood. The same with people. When you confront a person, then either they're gonna deny and gaslight you and basically BS you. They're gonna respond with aggression and blame you for the situation, basically returning fire, or they're gonna admit, or maybe not admit, but blame someone else and still give you a refund or something like that. That I'm not to blame, but yeah, I'm gonna give you a refund, and I told my employee to do it, and they, for some reason, they didn't do it. One of those three things is gonna happen for sure. There might be some other reaction, sure, but one of these three you're gonna notice immediately. So let's dig into this baby. Went in with hope and trust, was lied to, cheated, and disrespected. And I have proof. That's what I like. I have an iPad Pro 12.9. Never had any issues with it until recently, where every now and then the screen will go out. Sound still plays, backlight comes on and off when I cycle with the lock key, but something is wrong. The issue is intermittent. So after Apple offered to either replace it at the out of warranty cost or trade it in, I decided to give this place a shot, despite the widely mixed reviews. I think this is somewhere from 2024, so this is already past 2021. Until 2021, he had pretty good reviews. In 2021, I guess he became very successful and figured I can work from 12 to 4 and still have the multi-million-dollar business. Where is this money coming from? Interesting. Took it to Northridge Fix. Alex said that he has a couple of similar iPads in the back, but mine is the only one where the issue is intermittent. He said, try resetting settings to original, as that can sometimes fix it for some people. I mean, it's plausible. I mean, it's good to eliminate the easy fixes first, right? So that's very reasonable, sure. If that doesn't work, I can bring it in, and he can open it up and see what's wrong. He said it would be about a day or two repair if it came to it. It would be a day or two repair if it came to it, right? So after trying that and still having the issue, I brought it back the next day and dropped it off. He said he was going to try, but 50-50 chance he can fix it, and there is about 15% chance the screen may break during removal. That's fair, and no argument there. I think you should always tell the customer that there is a chance that the screen is going to break. Although if I break the screen, I replace the screen, right? I tell the customer that the screen might break, but that means you're going to have to wait a little longer for me to order the screen, but I'm not going to charge you with the repair. If I can't remove the screen, I'm in the wrong business. Okay. But the 50-50 chance of repair, as I said, this is very difficult business, especially with Apple devices. It is 50-50 at best. He said he would play a YouTube video until it showed the problem and go from there. A very reasonable approach. I mean, I would probably open it first, and probably you would find some cold solder or wiring issue or something like that. But that's what I would do. But it's very reasonable to first let me see. Yeah, it is reasonable. Although I don't approve starting the diagnosis from the premise that the customer is wrong and the customer misdiagnosed it, and it probably works just fine. It's just the customer doesn't know how to use it. I stay away from that approach because it never works and it's only frustrating for the customer. I told him that I have a surgery coming up on Friday and I would need it back before then. Estimate was Wednesday. Latest Thursday he would have it back to me. $65 for diagnosis if he can replicate the issue and gets into it. Okay, and now if you have a surgery coming up and you need the phone before the surgery, don't bring it to the repair shop. This is unnecessary pressure that the customer is putting on the tech that it needs to be done by Friday. I usually don't accept jobs like that because you never know. And I wish I could give you a guarantee, but if it's the fault that I work on, I've been working on for the past 2 years, and you send me an ECM and it's got to be done by a certain day. Sure, I can get it done by certain day, but what if it's lost in the shipping? So we're going to another day, no communication. Another day, shop is closed. Another day, I send a one-line message asking for an update, no reply. This is very common amongst all the reviews. There's very poor communication, but that by itself is not a huge issue, right? If the shop is busy, you can expect that there's going to be some harder communication. Still not great, but I'm not going to give you crap for that. You don't communicate well. What matters is whether you deliver on time and do a good job, right? So this morning, about an hour after they opened, I called. I spoke with a woman, I am guessing his wife, who told me that they spent 3 hours playing YouTube clips and couldn't replicate the issue. Remember this part as it is important later. And then I asked, well, what is next? And she says, well, nothing for the next few days as they will be closed as they are all going on holiday. Good for you. I haven't had holiday in years. The agreement was clear on timeline and why with this business, and for them to make no attempt to contact me, no attempt to communicate with me and let me know that they can't find a problem and to come get my device. Reasonable, they probably should have done that. I can completely understand mistakes. Okay, you didn't call me, forgot maybe an emergency came up or something. You can diagnose the issue. All of this is fine. Just be honest. A very reasonable approach from the client. But wait. So I asked about the $65 charged for the diagnostics, for the diagnosis or trying to diagnose the device. She said that there is no refund. I said that $65 for having YouTube on screen for 3 hours is a bit steep, but especially in light of the fact that they failed to communicate anything to me, and now I need to drop work and run to grab my device. I mean, typically I don't agree with the customers that do their the evaluation of work themselves. You know, every technician kind of evaluates their work, and that should be communicated up front, so there's no stuff like that, right? You know, $65 for a bench fee is not a huge bench fee. I mean, it's slightly higher than mine, but mine is particularly low. But yeah, Adam, I'm not gonna side with the customer on this one. Like, you know, I'm not gonna pay $65 for 3 hours of playing a YouTube video. Well, you know, it still had to take up the space. You know, I would not fight about that $65 bench fee. And yeah, I typically don't agree with the customers that put their own evaluation on my hours, right? They said they would refund $20, so that brings the bench fee to $45. I say that's fair. I'm gonna take Alex's side on this and say this is fair. I wasn't happy. Sorry. So I went to the store with 2 goals in mind: get my device, have a conversation with Alex about customer service. Okay, here the customer has a point, because the communication was not good. He's paying. Instead, he came out of the gate with an attitude. I can believe that. He said, I hear you have an issue with us only refunding $20. I told him that I have no issue paying for a diagnosis if one is performed. I have no problem waiting, and I am pretty easygoing, but my issue is with the fact that I was not communicated with when it was clear that the plans had changed and he would leave me hanging. He didn't want to hear it, and started saying how he never even wanted to take my device, but I was insistent. Not true. He never objected, and I never insisted. Okay, well, here we don't have a proof. I mean, I can believe that perhaps one side had an kind of a perception of that the customer really needs it, and he did mention something about the surgery and stuff, so maybe the repair shop kind of read that as it's an emergency, you have to take it, you have to fix it, and they were reluctant, but also didn't let the customer know that they were reluctant to actually accept the device, which would be understandable if it wasn't for the fact that now the shop is saying, well, I never wanted to take the device from you. So the heck are you doing in the business if you don't want customer devices? And it doesn't even matter if you did want to take it or not. You did take it. Okay, you didn't have to take it. You could have told the customer that, sorry, I'm not going to work on this device, and that's fine too. And there would be no problem. This case would have been over at this point. But no, you need to have an attitude. Talk, basically argue with the customer, which you should never do. There's a old saying that the customer is always right, and there's a reason for that. He pays for your mortgage, he pays for your house, he pays for whatever you do in life. Okay, so no, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. But who am I? I'm just a 3,000 subscriber channel, not the 450,000 subscriber channel, so obviously he's objectively more successful than I am. Whatever. If he wants to keep 45 of my $65 and have me never go back, that's fine. See, that's what I tell you. If he thinks that he didn't make any mistakes, that is fine too. After all, He waxes poetic on YouTube about business practices. He doesn't walk the walk. Okay, that is actually that this impression that the customer got is actually very common in the reviews of Northridge Fix. That the customers had a different idea of the business based on the YouTube channel, and then they went in person, and they had different experience than they expected. Okay, just saying, it's pretty common. It's not just one review that I read them all, every single one, both positive and negative. 12 pages of Yelp reviews plus Reddit plus Google reviews. But here is where it takes a nasty turn. Yeah, I'm afraid what's gonna happen, but I obviously I already know. But when I was reading to this point, I figured I think I know what's gonna happen. As soon as I left the shop, I got in my car and pulled out my iPod. Now, mind you, when I dropped it off, it was wiped clean, so only had YouTube on it. Right, that was the only application. So I went to go look at the usage stat, and this is where my blood began to boil. I was lied to, clear as day. There it was. Remember how his wife told me they played YouTube for 3 hours? YouTube was on a total of 19 minutes over the last 6 days. In fact, the device wasn't even touched in the last 24 hours. So Saturday was the last time it was touched. So, a few days back. Clear as day. I went back and asked Alex, how much time did you actually spend on this? He said, maybe half an hour. I told him what his wife told me about YouTube. He said, well, that is in addition to. We played an hour-long YouTube clip. At this point I would ask him, which clip? Right? Which clip did you play? An hour long. It's kind of unusual timing, right? If you played a movie, that's going to be a little longer than an hour, right? If you played a clip, then, what was it, the music? Or was it 4K? Was it, I would have some questions, basically. I asked him if he was sure he wanted to go with this story. He doubled down, and then I confronted him with the incontrovertible proof. His jaw dropped, and he started to get very agitated, quickly changing the subject. Okay? One of three things is gonna happen. Obviously, Alex responded with anger and firing back at the customer. I gave him numerous chances to come clean and said, listen, just refund the diagnostic you didn't do and I will leave, and that is it. He said, go ahead and file a chargeback, and I don't care about reviews. Well, at this point, I understand why he doesn't care about the reviews. There's just too many one-star reviews, so he just, he used to respond to some of them. I read his responses to some of them, or all of his responses, in fact. But to some of them, he responded. He did not respond to this one, and plenty other. While I am sure there are some people he takes care of, others are left lied to, cheated, and disrespected. And I have it all screen capped and recorded. I would love to see that recording. You know what, fellas? Since he so graciously gave us all us small unsuccessful repair shops and advice, let me reciprocate with my own advice. Do I make money? No, I don't really make money. And no, I don't need to hear that from you guys. I hear that enough from my wife. I don't need to hear it from you. But What I do is, every single one of my customers is treated like a member of a family, or my best friend. Every customer leaves happy, and it's not because I never make a mistake. It's not because I don't have failures. A few days ago, a customer sent me an ECM, 2 ECMs for cloning. I cloned them, I sent them back, and he writes me that the replacement ECM doesn't work, and 2 minutes later, hey, original doesn't work either. What did you do to my stuff? Right? And you could hear in his voice that he's been scammed before, right? He got bad experience before. So first, I refunded everything, but that doesn't solve the problem. The customer, I broke 2 ECMs apparently, right? So first I received the 2 ECMs back. I did something, I sent them back. Obviously I paid for the shipping. It still didn't work, so I had to order a similar ECM, right? The same ECM, pay for it. Then, since I don't want to break it again, I just offloaded it to a friend of mine, the other repair shop, that is gonna program it different way than I do it, because I actually write the EEPROM chips, and he does it via CAN, so it's different. I'm thinking there's something weird with those kind of ECMs, but I lost a total of, I don't know, maybe $300 on that job, but the customer is happy. Another one that was a couple days prior, a lady sent an ECM, and the ECM got lost in the shipping. Not my fault, right? Still, she got full refund, other than shipping. I kept the shipping charge. She got full refund. I got the ECM, and I wasn't sure that my repair would actually repair it, so I ordered another ECM, $150. I brought that one, and I cloned it to the replacement ECM, sent her 2 ECMs, all for free. Another $300 lost. But another customer happy, right? And every time that lady starts her car, I hope she's going to remember that this car started because Ralph fixed it, and I didn't have to pay a dime for it, other than shipping, obviously. If I had only a fraction of such reviews, I would close down my business, because I understand that you're in it for money and just for money, but being in something just for money doesn't mean you have to do a crappy job. And I encourage you to read some other reviews, like this thing being left in an iPod. Right, the iPod came in for a repair, the customer got it back, and after a few, I don't know, months or weeks, he sent it to another repair shop, and the repair shop opened it and said, hey, there's a spudger inside, the toothpick, or the guitar pick, whatever. That is, how negligent do you have to be to leave that in the device? You know, again, mistakes happen. I've done my share of mistakes, and not every repair in my shop is successful. But respect, honesty, transparency, my core values, okay? First of all, we respect the customer, and we respect the ownership of the device. We respect your device, because that device, I don't care if it's worth $5 or $500. This is your device, and that device might be worth $10,000 to you. You have your device has my respect, and obviously you as a customer have my respect. Honesty, if I can fix it or I do something to it, I'm gonna replace your device on my cost. Again, just like he said that there's 15%. I don't know how he calculated that even, but there's 15% that he can break the screen. But so I have to pay for the screen. I don't know about that. If you can't open the screen without cracking it, because if there is a crack on it already, right? If the screen is cracked, I understand fully. But if the screen is not damaged and you can replace it, you can remove it without breaking it, you're in the wrong business, brother. Wrong business. But who am I? who am I to give Alex an advice? I have only 3,000 subscribers. I'm nobody, right? I don't think he even knows I exist. And it's probably better if it stays that way. But it really, especially his second response, it really kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like, no one actually knows that, but when I opened my shop, one of the main reasons was after I started watching Alex, and for two reasons. One was he did provide a lot of like a good motivational content, especially his story how he started the shop. That was very valuable to me. There was one video where he broke the screen and he replaced the screen for the customer at his own cost, right? And he made a pretty good point about that. But now I'm thinking that the only reason he replaced that screen is because the damage was recorded on the video. Because reading those reviews, I don't think he actually walks the walk, as the customer said over here. But he was a big reason I started my shop. And the second reason was when I was watching him, it's like, all of those repairs are like very basic repairs, like either replacing a connector or finding a shorted MOSFET, and that's pretty much it. And I figured, yeah, if I had 1,500 devices in the back, then even if I have 10% success rate, I still have a successful channel, because I'm going to find that 10% that I'm going to repair, right? But I've never seen him actually working on any complex problems. Not that I'm saying that he can't, but just my observation. So it saddens me even more that Alex was, someone who kind of unknowingly pushed me in the, gave me confidence, and I don't want to say thanks to him, because it's not like he did anything. But if it wasn't for him, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have opened the shop. I don't know. Or maybe I would have opened it much later. Not when I did. So that saddens me the most, because you might call him you might call him a mentor, and probably he is a mentor to a lot of people. But what he presents on the YouTube channel seems to be not what he actually does in the real life. Interesting. And one last piece of advice, which you don't need, but I'm going to give it to you anyways. You say you're successful because you have all these subscribers, and thanks to that you have a lot of exposure, thus an influx of jobs. That's why your queue is so big. But YouTube is a beast like no other, and you can see many other channels that fell from being a titan to nothing. Check out the Illuminati, right? A titan that fell out of just basically disappeared. This might cause the avalanche effect. You might not notice, 10,000 subscribers gone over the, or negative growth, right? You might not even notice that, and you'll say to yourself, oh, I still have 400,000 subscribers. But sometimes only one mistake can cost you everything. And there is a channel that I used to watch, and a few days ago, maybe a week, month, whatever, the false information was presented as a fact. And I always knew he does bad research, and he doesn't even do any research. He reads something and just pulls up the camera and talks to the camera for 10-15 minutes and gets a lot of views. That's a great job to have, but that's also a big responsibility. And what did I do? I didn't unsubscribe. I clicked the little button, don't recommend this channel, and he no longer gets my views. He still has my subscription because I don't think I unsubscribed. But subscription means nothing. Okay, it's the views that matter. So you might stay at your 450,000 subscribers, but instead of getting 60,000 views on an upload, you might drop to 2,000. Not only that's going to cost you money on YouTube, although YouTube doesn't really pay that much from ad revenue, but it will cause the business to drop in influx of repairs, and that might hurt your budget. So save your money, man. That's my advice. Save your money, because nothing lasts forever, and every successful business needs to, from time to time, kind of go through some harsher time, and if you were not prepared for that time, that might be the end of the business. That's my little advice. I hope you found this case entertaining. I sure did. Thank you guys very much for watching. I do appreciate you, and I shall see you in the next one.